had a little issue when I was buying my home as far as employment.
What was that?
I don't know how familiar you are with radio, but a lot of us radio guys, like the WKRP show in the late 70s, the theme song says, town to town, up and down the dial, okay? So you might have a job for 2 or 3 years, and you have another opportunity, or maybe you get downsized, but you move around a lot, which I have done over the last 20 years or so. But anyway, because of that, I had been unemployed for about 6 months prior to moving to this new job.
Okay.
And after being there a month, I started shopping around, mortgage company before I actually looked at houses, and he's like, yeah, you've been out of work for a while. What were you doing? I was like, looking for a job, man. I've got one now. What's the problem? He's like, well, your work history, up until that point was good. Because, like a solid 15 years, you know. But he's like, yeah, you're going to have a 6 months of employment history before we can move forward with this. So, that's something you got to keep in mind, too, if you've had a recent unemployment.
Yeah, and the rules are a little different now. They actually have created programs to help people get back into the workforce, and FHA has one. It's back to work is what they call it. And it takes a look at, hey, you had a major event occur, and we're going to basically create this program and give you an exception to get back into a house, which makes sense. Why do you want to force somebody to stay renting if they can actually own a home and they had some major medical thing or some other life-altering event happen? You don't want to add on to it and deny them for a mortgage if they can qualify for it, obviously. So, we have those kind of programs, but then more importantly, if it is a conventional loan we're trying to do, typically they do want to see 6 months on the job, especially when you've had that gap, especially a gap of 6 months. But FHA, we can get away with 2 months pay statements. Or not 2 months, I'm sorry, a month's worth of pay statements. So if you're paid bi-weekly, 2 pay stubs. So there's different ways to get back into the workforce, or back into a mortgage after you've re-entered the workforce, I guess I should say. And FHA has a couple different ways of doing it. Conventional, as I said, they typically want to see 6 months pay stubs if you've had a large enough gap like you had back then.